The air in the chamber was always heavy, not with dust, but with the weight of unseen decisions, of responsibilities too vast for the ordinary world to comprehend. It was a circular room, dimly lit, the walls adorned not with trophies, but with complex, shifting celestial charts and ancient glowing sigils that pulsed with an arcane energy. Around a polished obsidian table sat figures whose names, if spoken aloud, would send ripples through global markets, scientific communities, and political landscapes. But here they were simply council members, facing threats that transcended national borders and even earthly dimensions. A deep sigh broke the silence, perhaps from the industrialist or the brilliant scientist. A new anomaly had appeared. A tear in the very fabric of space-time, bleeding chaotic energy into a distant galaxy. The initial projections from their most advanced instruments were dire, pointing towards an imminent collapse if unchecked. Logic, science, and strategic might were already being mapped out, detailed plans laid for containment and countermeasures. Then, a quiet, measured voice cut through the technical jargon and the weighty silence, soft but resonant. The ley lines are restless, far beyond that tear. They sing of an ancient unraveling, a wound that predates stellar formation. This is not merely a rip in space-time, but a spiritual hemorrhage. Our conventional physics will only exacerbate it. The speaker was Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, master of the mystic arts. And in the secretive, formidable council known as the Illuminati, his presence was not merely welcome, it was absolutely indispensable. He was their mystic oracle. The Illuminati, by their very nature, comprised the brightest and most powerful minds, dedicated to safeguarding Earth from threats too profound for public knowledge. They were the architects of global stability, often working in shadows, making choices that would save billions while remaining entirely unknown. Within this clandestine assembly, you had the unyielding intellect of Reed Richards, the strategic brilliance of Black Panther, the economic leverage of Iron Man, and the regal authority of Namor. Each brought a unique domain of expertise, but only Stephen Strange brought the whispers of the universe itself. He was present at all known meetings, a steadfast anchor in a sea of cosmic uncertainty. His commitment wasn't just to attend, it was to absorb, to interpret, to illuminate. While the others dissected energy signatures and calculated probabilities, Strange observed the subtle fluctuations in the astral plane, the faint echoes of forgotten spells, the faint scent of dimensional trespass. His unique mystical viewpoint allowed them to perceive threats that were entirely invisible to scientific instruments, to understand motivations that transcended conventional psychology. Imagine a scenario: a colossal, otherworldly entity descends. Reed Richards would analyze its composition, its energy output, its potential for physical harm. Iron Man would devise weapon systems, tactical maneuvers. But Strange? Strange would look beyond the physical. He would discern if the entity was a being of pure thought, a malevolent spirit, an unwitting pawn of a darker force, or perhaps even a misunderstood deity. He might perceive that its true weakness wasn't a powerful blast, but an ancient banishing ritual, a sacred word, or a cosmic truth it could not bear. His role was to ensure that magical threats and cosmic events were considered not just from a scientific or strategic perspective, but from a deeply spiritual, arcane one. In a universe where magic was as real as gravity, and where cosmic entities operated on principles far beyond human comprehension, Strange was the bridge. He translated the language of the cosmos, warned of unintended magical consequences from purely scientific interventions, and offered solutions that others would deem impossible or simply never conceive of. He was often the lone voice advocating for an approach rooted in ancient wisdom, in the understanding of ley lines, quantum entanglement of a mystical kind, or the very fabric of existence. This made him an invaluable member of the secretive group. Without Strange, the Illuminati, for all their collective genius, would have been blind to entire categories of threats, vulnerable to attacks they couldn't even perceive. He wasn't just there to cast a spell, he was there to explain the spell, to decode the arcane, to foresee the ripples of mystical causality. The weight of this knowledge, of being the sole guardian of humanity's magical frontier within such a pragmatic council, must have been immense. Yet he bore it with a quiet stoicism, his focus unwavering, his insight piercing through the darkest mysteries. Stephen Strange stood as the silent guardian of the mystical realms within the Illuminati, the indispensable voice for the unseen, the unheard. His wisdom, not just his power, solidified his place as the Council's essential mystic oracle. He reminded them that not every problem could be solved with technology, not every enemy defeated by force, and not every truth understood through empirical observation. In the face of threats that defied logic and reason, he was the one who could interpret the whispers of the universe, the language of magic, and guide humanity away from oblivion, one arcane insight at a time. He truly was the vital anchor in the unseen war. What do you think was Stephen Strange's most vital contribution to the Illuminati? Was it his unmatched mystical power, his unique perspective, or the sheer breadth of his knowledge? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue to explore the hidden depths of the Marvel Universe together. If you enjoyed this journey into the mind of the Sorcerer Supreme, remember to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the heroes and hidden histories that shape our favorite stories.